Hey everyone, I'm Clue, and yeah, we're gonna hop back into playing Flesh and Blood, starting off with obviously some deck construction, revolving around Shiyana. Now, I do want to try to stick to a few heroes, right, rather than playing the field and finding my interest. Shiyana, I like goofy decks, I like combo decks, I like really gimmicky or niche decks, so Shiyana is really up my alley, and obviously we got two big cards from Dust Till Dawn, right? We have the Vizet Flail, which is really important, and Alluring Inducement, which in itself is a nice, strong card for Shiyana. So I thought, take some time, build a deck, and then I can go back to playing a few games at the end of the day to wind down, because it is quite fun. I haven't actually played any games in a while with everything surrounding Dust Till Dawn. Right, I've been focused on opening more so than playing. It'll be interesting to see. We are using the Skirmish 7 rules, so slightly bigger deck, one card, right? And now, you can probably see, I have Copper highlighted, right? And that is because, why is the Flail important, right? Because I did say there was two important cards from Dust Till Dawn, right? The Vizet Flail is super interesting and super useful, and mainly for Copper, right? So Copper, what can you do with Copper? Well, if we go to the specialization, so if we do Shapeshifter only, we scroll down, Flail's up there, but we won't worry about that just yet. Can I see it on the first page? No, I can't. Is it on the second page? Right. Curious, can you guess what it is exactly I'm looking for that I can't seem to find? Right. Why can't I find it? It has to be on the first page then. I'm thinking about the wrong heroes. Yeah, I am. It's this one. Right, no, that's Dorinthia. Where's the Kasai specialization? There we go. Blood on her hands. I should be looking at the border. I'm looking at just the name and the image, right? So what does this do? Well, as an additional cost to play Blood on her hands, destroy any number of copper you control. For each copper destroyed this way, choose a mode. You may choose each mode twice. One-handed weapon has +1. One-handed weapon has go again. And one-handed weapon may attack twice. And you can pick each mode twice. Oh, right. What two weapons might we want to, dual wield that have a pretty interesting effect to play around with? When this hits, create a rune chant token. One-handed flail. So yeah, we're definitely going with. Excuse me. Give me my card. There we go. Two of them, and we're gonna essentially build around playing them a lot. So for instance, we also have the Dorinthia specialization. Until the end of your turn, target weapon gains +2 damage, and then whenever it hits, draw a card. +2 is great, right? Because we want this to hit so that we can get those rune chant tokens off. And I'm actually curious about running the rune chant segment of cards. Now, important thing to think about, right? Card cost. So for instance, Crippling Crush, although it's quite nice, quite strong, 7. Is that really feasible with Shiner, with the fact that you don't have access to Seismic Surge tokens? Probably not. Endless Winter 4 is a little bit better, but then you have the Ice Fusion gimmick and everything like that. So yeah, why don't we pull some cards out and then think about it? I think there's four sort of segments of cards you want to try and run, right? Rune Chant, since we have access to the Flail now, the Freeze Queen stuff, right? From Icelander and some of the Oldhim. Then we also want the Heralds and Soul, so we can take advantage of Bolton. And then, of course, just the Warrior straight up smash your face in with our new fancy flails. So let me pull out the cards that I think are definitely a priority, and then we'll go from there. Right, so basically, these are all the applicable cards for Shiyana. Now, obviously, we have to go through Prune and think about what meshes well together. So, for instance, Arc Light Sentinel. Cost of 6. Not something we're really going to play, although it is, decent protection since it protects from one attack, right? And it's instant, so you can play. How does it actually work, right? They must choose Arc-Like Sentinel as the target. If Arc-Like Sentinel is in the arena when an opponent announces an attack, right? So because it's instant, you still have to play it before them, but you can play it on their turn, I guess. Yeah, so for 6, I don't know, it's a bit costly. But for instance, Luminar Ascension. Right, this is something you really want to play, because if you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon, right? You don't have to charge a light card, you just have to charge. So, until the end of turn, weapons you control, blah, blah, blah. But you need some way to trigger that effect beforehand, right? There's not that many ways. We have Herald of Judgment, so if Herald of Judgment hits, you can put it into your soul, so that's one way. And then, what was the other way? There was another V for Vanguard, there we go, right? So as an additional cost to play V for Vanguard, you may charge your soul any number of times. realistically, right, we only put one in because that's all we really care about. We just want the ability to attack twice with our weapon. Although I understand this as you still need to go again, right? So we still need to apply go again to the weapon, which there are ways to do that. Obviously, we saw the Kasai specialization, and there are a few action point generating not common generics, right, that we want to slot in. And then the other sort of archetype that I'm looking at is arcane damage, right? So there's lots of ways to deal arcane damage, and then we have not that one. There was one that deals or generates per arcane damage, wasn't there? Something like that. What if I type in arcane here, for instance? What comes up? Not the protection. No, nothing. Is it Blazing Aether? Yeah, there we go. Deal X arcane damage to the target hero, where X is the amount of arcane damage you have dealt to that hero this turn. So with ways to generate rune chance, obviously through the flail and whatnot, and then, Blazing Aether, pick a hero, or do get to pick a hero. Because making all these Runeblade cards would be fantastic, right? That would be so insane with Bequest the Vast Beyond, right? That would be, you could then chuck in Crippling Crush, you could chuck in the high cost cards, that would be really fantastic. I'm going to look that up quickly. So, from looking, I believe it's just the opposing hero you can pick from. But still, it means any matchup with a Runeblade hero, any Runeblade hero, right? So, Briar, although close to Living Legend, Vizaria is obviously gone, but Vizette, and no, there is no normal Runeblade, right, still? Either way, right, if you can trigger this as a Runeblade, and cards you own are the class of that hero in addition to the other class types, right? God, that is just so powerful. I don't think there's any other specific hero where you really benefit that much, but in terms of making yourself a Runeblade, especially when you have cards like this, because you don't have access to the Bloodchief Skelter, but you now have access to half of its function, right? The next Runeblade attack action you play costs less per Runeblade, right? So now we can play Crippling Crush if we generate X tokens. There's lots of fun things that you can do with that. Searching with Become the Arknight is then also applicable. So you'd probably sideboard Become the Arknight, right? Just for matchups where you're against a Runeblade and can become a Runeblade. So yeah, altogether, right? 3 main functions, I think, for the deck. Arcane damage via Rune Chance, then reusing your weapons, which also then ties into the Rune Chant building. So using Bolton and Dorinthia, as well as Kasai. And then the Frost stuff, right? I think cut the nature elements. They are Runeblade cards, so there is some synergy there, and the ability to make other tokens. Unity is the other big thing, because a Unity, no double T, right? Unity, there we go. So yeah, so you can play 5, 10 cards with Unity, right? And this creates a Spellbane token. That one's not that great. Embodiment of Earth is nice. Seismic Surge is definitely nice, but Starstruck, 7, costs us 7. So I don't know if you'd want to include that, right? Because again, you'd need 2 blues and something in order to play it, and there's not many other ways to generate Seismic Surge, although I'm sure there's some generics I'll have to look through that you can discount. So yeah, so I will go through and I'll prune cards that I don't think are really applicable. There are some nice, just draw elements from Ninja as well. So like Spring Tidings is pretty good, except you can't really have the 2 less base. Right. Well, 2 less base, so unupgraded, for each other attack action card, not weapon. So Spring Tidings probably isn't that great. You could combo it specifically with Whirling Mist, because you play Spring Tidings, it's a draw 1 anyway, then Whirling Mist, as long as it's the 2nd of high, yeah, and then Spring Tidings to draw 2. So just comboing 3 of those together, that's a decent play. Although, it'd be hard, right? You draw into it, so you'd probably want to save it, so you can't block with it. Yeah, it'd be pretty much complex. It's probably too hard to activate. There's probably better ways to draw than using that. And then obviously Blood on Her Hands is the big thing to build around, in which you need some sort of copper token generation, which is why, we start off on copper. High Striker just being the obvious best one. So next time an attack you control hits, and then you play that with probably like Alpha Rampage, where, can you see it? I can't see it. The traps from Riptide are also interesting. Alpha Rampage, it's A, right? It's first, because it has Intimidate, right? And then as additional cost, you only have to discard a random card. It's for 3, so pretty useful. Yeah, so High Striker, Knick-Knack, Brick Note, that's spending. Imperial Ledger. I think this is too slow. Again, I wish some of the items had go again, or there was some way to generate go again on them. Cash in. I don't really want to spend them for anything other than Kasai, and we probably just go for. You'd probably still go for blue, right? So you have the option to pitch it if need be, because again, you probably wait until you can combo it with something specific, or you have blood on your hands and you need the copper straight away. Yeah, anyway, I will prune and refine, and then hopefully we'll have something intriguing. For a first iteration, I think this is what we're gonna go with, right? So we've got Shiyana, obviously, Crown of Providence as our helm. Maybe swap to the Arcanite Skullcap, right? Do we need the draw as much as Shiyana? Because there are a lot of cards that we can draw off of across the specializations. 2 Flails. Could always swap one out, I think, for the lantern or the fan, right? That allows you to draw if you pay 1. 2 is just nice for Lumina Ascension, right? Since it affects both weapons. I don't think the Dorinthia one does, right? Target weapon, no, gains 2. And is there another way for us to re-hit? Blood on her hands. Target weapon has go again while attacking this turn. So no, you'd pick 2 modes and you'd pick both weapons. Yeah, so you could probably get away with just 1 flail, but we'll go with 2, right? Fleetfoot Sandals, so destroy them and target attack. So no attack action, but attack with 1 or less base damage. So obviously the flail gains go again. So it's just an easy way to gain go again on our flails, and we can double hits. Goliath Gauntlet. I don't know too specifically which gloves we want to run, but we'll go with them because they're free, right? We don't have to pay, and it's just +2 for some of our high-hitting attacks, like Alpha Rampage to just push it over. Vest of the First Fist over the Spring Tunic, right? Because it's Blitz, I prefer the Vest since it's a bit quicker to activate, and it's not too hard, again, to meet your requirements with, getting 1 attack off. The Gorgarian Tome, I just like running it, right? I like playing with less cards, so 39 cards. It's just easier, you can get a lot of your combos off easier, obviously. So yeah, so it's just a draw 1, go again. So it's basically just a empty slot. Alpha Rampage. It's 3 for 9 with Intimidate, right? You just have to get rid of 1 card. Pretty strong. Okay. Arcane damage wise. So we have, starting with Lessons in Lava, right? So we play Lessons in Lava, and then we can search for a wizard card with cost equal to or less than the damage dealt, right? So even if it is all prevented, we can still search out Blazing Aether, right? I'm pretty sure that's our only wizard skills. Oh, actually, no, we have the ice ones as well, right? And because it's double X, it's technically 0, so I think you can search that out too. Frost Hex, don't worry about. Okay, so yeah, Lessons Lava, pretty useful. The whole idea is we have a decent way to deal arcane damage, if you also include the Enchant tokens, to then pop off either the Arcanite Ascendancy, right, create extra enchant tokens to really go all in, or there is a better, this one, like Blazing Aether, deal X arcane damage, where X is the amount you have dealt. So hopefully that's our go-to finisher, and then we just have a decent amount of weapon utilization. So Steelblade Supremacy is just plus to the weapons. You can then combo it in with the Fleetfoot Sandals to attack twice. Again, you're paying life too, which is really nice. Right, we're not too worried about life in Blitz. V for Vanguard, again, just to charge our soul. We're not too worried about it being light cards to charge, but just to make sure that we can use Luminar's Ascension so that we can attack more times with the weapons, right? Really nice. Combo that with the Kasai, go again, and we can, attack a few times with each flail. You'd have to pick the go again twice. So you need 2 copper. Speaking of copper, we've gone with High Striker Red. I think just trying to get these 6 tokens is probably most beneficial, right? That way, if you pop 1, as long as you get 1 off and get your 6 tokens, you can basically play both Blood on Her Hands. Because again, priority is that go again effect. So you just get that twice, and then you can go for the +1 damage, or you go for the May attack twice if you can't directly get the Luminar's Ascension off. Get both high strikers, and well, you can pretty much flail them to death, hopefully. Cooldown Lightning. I was curious about this. I was thinking about cutting it, but just the Unity tag is pretty nice, right? Having a few different things with Unity. What ones aren't we running? We're not running the Anthem of Spring. I cut all the Earth cards. It's not worth the fusion, and the effects in themselves don't seem super strong. I do like that they're blue, though. Next target action gets +1, go again. Is it worth it, right? It's more just keeping your deck for the defending application. But the embodiment of Earth token, I don't think is too necessary. I'd like to run Starstruck, in all honesty, but the cost 7, can't afford. Okay, so that's the weapon, that's arcane damage. Traps just seems super good, right? As your defense. You find one, you just straight away stick it in your arsenal and forget about it. And then Frostbites. Frostbite's the other big thing. Also, the Teklo core, just for the extra resources. Right? There's decent ways to generate resources. There's decent ways to draw. I don't think we need the ninja setup. Right? The Spring, Tide Blossoms, and I'm trying to think of the other one. No, it doesn't come to mind. As combos to draw, I think there's enough ways for us to draw and search. Soul Reaping. We can't make use of its resource generation, but it is still just a 1 card for 6. So I think that's worth including, right? Similar to Alpha Rampage, just for the damage. As for the sideboard, we have 6 cards, right? So Bequest the Vast Beyond, Crippling Crush, and then Become the Arknight. So again, if we enter a Runeblade matchup, we want these 6 cards, right? Because there are ways for us to now make Crippling Crush fairly cheap if it is a Runeblade card. And in fact, you know, if I had more slots, I'd sideboard Starstruck as well as another high-end card. Again, if we have the ability to make use of Bequest the Vast Beyond for all our cards. If not, I don't think it's worth playing just to hit Arknight Ascendancy, right? Just to double its cheapening cost. So we'd only need 3, right, to make it free. No, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just stick them in the sideboard. If, again, we have that matchup, then we can slot them in. Become the Arknight becomes fantastic, right? So, again, we can just discard a card to find the opposite card, turn a non-attack action into a attack action, and vice versa. Fairly nice. Just sideboard tech, if anything. We haven't really dabbled in the generics, though, right? That's the big hang-up. I'd have to cut some segments, maybe the traps, maybe the frostbite stuff. That's probably the next thing to go. We just keep the weapon use and then rune chance into arcane damage. But yeah, we haven't really touched the generics. I think, obviously, next thing to do is just play, see how it goes, and then tinker with it. Hopefully, we end up having some fun. I mean, I'm excited. Right? I think this is pretty nice. Again, it does kind of feel like Shiyana could benefit from 1 or 2 more shapeshifter cards that play into this ability, right? To somehow make you trigger some effects easier, right? For instance, if you had a card that just allowed you to pick X hero to turn into, and you also gained their actual ability for 1 turn, I think that would be quite nice in terms of making her a bit more viable. Well, we'll see. You never know, this could work out pretty nicely. Pretty sure we just get slammed by a lot of certain matchups, right? I think that it is still a kind of slow deck, right? We want certain cards to combo together to play into, so it is a bit slow. Hopefully the Alpha Rampage and like the Soul Reaping can help us just pressure on some turns, since, we just pop them. They're fairly cheap, high damage, and yeah, push some level of damage. Anyway, we'll leave it there, and we will try playing it in the next one. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.